I mean, am I
really
crazy for thinking that you take guys like Foligno and Hartman, right? Both like relatively cheap deals, but for the Wild, every penny counts.
Right.
I would think Hartman, if you're looking at a team like Tampa, if you're looking at a team like Boston, you can get a pretty strong return moving a player on that type of deal with that kind of play to them. Now you trade Foligno as well. You free up almost $5 million in cap space. Have Marco Rossi finally get a chance. Bring him up. Fuck it. Play him on the first line. Give him every chance to fail. And if he can't do it, at least you know. Beckman then gets a spot on the third line. Get him out there with, Goudreau and Duhaime? Fuck it. That could be fun.
Makes sense.
At least you're doing something. You're picking up assets and you're letting kids have a chance to see if they're actually part of your future. Because right now, we're literally running the same shit back and hoping that things go differently. And I don't understand how that makes any sense with looking at how other teams in the division have gotten better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hey, yeah. I mean, you know me. I'm all, like, fucking play them all, dude. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine specifically on those two, like, it's funny because with Ryan Hartman specifically, what makes him an attractive, like, pickup for other teams? He's not 30, first of all. He's proven that he can produce when playing with elite players. Like, he's a fucking good hockey player. And he makes 1.7. But what makes him attractive to the Minnesota Wild to keep? He makes 1.7. You've watched him score fucking 30 goals for the Minnesota. You know what I mean? So again, it's just this
but it's the same rinse and repeat bullshit, which is the problem for me.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you. Yeah.
Like, might as well take a step back, or hey, maybe it's a lateral move, whatever. You're at least picking up assets in a year that you'll still probably make the playoffs, losing the first round just like you would if you had Hartman. I don't know. And maybe it's something that they wait on until we get closer to the deadline, and that's when they pull the trigger on something like that, if we're a fringe team of sorts. But I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe maybe that's like the debate to have, though, is like, part of that is you just lost Dumba, you lost Reeves, you've lost other like big parts of that locker room, and you don't want to just throw all of that on the kids, obviously. Like when they're
and that's what's tougher with Foligno for sure.
Right, exactly. And again, I'm not saying you should be prioritizing the locker room over literally everything else. I think that's like one of the things I feel like that GMs have to kind of like strike the right balance. When you look at teams that win, it's like, yes, we have every team that fucking wins. What do they always say? Oh, this is the best locker room I've ever been a part of. Yeah, you obviously have to get that right, but like to a certain extent, you can't just be like, well, we can't possibly like. Thank God Billy wasn't like, well, we can't possibly not re-sign Ryan Reeves. Like, what about the locker room? It's like, well, I think we'll be all right.
Crazy. Like if Ryan Reeves leaving is what like destroys your team, sounds like
that's a debate. Though. That's a debate.
Dog bullshit.
Yeah. That's where the debate's going on. That's where the debate's, dude.
It's insane.